All right, in this presentation, we're going to discuss expense accounting, and we're going to talk about processing miscellaneous expenses into the Blue Seer ERP application. This presentation is going to be centered around version 6.0.10. Okay, we're first going to go look at the expense maintenance menu and look at the two key fields that are associated with this type of transaction. The vendor field, this expense is applied to a vendor, and the other field is the expense account. So this will be the account that will be charged for this expense transaction, and you want to make the expense accounts somewhat specific to the transaction type that you're trying to track. And what we're going to do now is do a simulation with an electric bill. So processing an expense for an electric bill and for say a water bill. And to do that, we're going to create two vendors and two types of account codes. So let's go over to Address, Vendor Menu, Vendor Maintenance. Click New, and we're going to create just an electric company. Okay, leave this address information blank, and we'll accept the defaults here. Then click number 2, and this will be the water company. It'll be the second vendor. And it'll be a water company, and again, leave this stuff information blank. We only care about the name right now. And click Add. So now we have our two vendor codes. Let's go to our Accounts Browse menu and look at the chart of accounts that we currently have. On the expense side, we only have these accounts in the default offering of Blue Seer. These are the COGS accounts that are associated with selling of an item and the costs associated with that. There is nothing in here specific to an electric bill or a water bill, or electric expense or a water expense. So we're going to create two more accounts here. Let's go to Finance, Ledger Setup, Account and Maintenance, click New. We'll go to the bottom of it. 1, 2, 3. And we're going to create this as the electric expense account. And this will be of type E for expense. Click Add, and let's do one more for the water account as well. This account number has to be unique. You cannot put duplications in. Water expense account. Again, it is type E. Click Add, and we have those. Now let's go back to the expense maintenance menu, and let's do entries for those two transactions, the electric bill and the water bill. So click New, the vendor for the electric. Typically, you'd put in you could be paying with a check, so you might want to enter a check number. The remarks are arbitrary and optional. You don't have to enter anything here. You can if you want. We're going to choose our electric expense account to charge this transaction against. The cost center is essentially the department you want to charge this to as well. And then here, item service is very similar to the remarks. It's just an arbitrary value. I'm going to put an electric bill. February. Quantity 1, let's call it 53.67. Add item, you see the total here, click Commit, and you have your first transaction. We're going to do the second one for the water as well while we're here. Choose your water company, check number 777, choose the water account, there we go, 8,000, water bill 123.23, and click Add Item. So now we have both of those transactions input into the system. So now we can look at those transactions in Expense Browse. Click Run, and you see both of those transactions have been committed to the expense maintenance tables, the accounts payable tables. You can also chart these, by the way. This chart functionality essentially is a pie chart that shows expenses by vendor. So if you have multiple transactions in here for a specific vendor, it'll sum all those up and give you the total by vendor. You can hide chart there. Okay, well, with that said, there's one other report that you can do to look at these as well. You can go to Accounts Payable menu, AP Report Selector, Expense Report by Vendor Date, click View. And again, that information is here, but what is good about this is you can actually print this to a printer, or you can save this in a PDF format. A nice little tool. Okay, Let's go back to the expense maintenance and talk about recurring profiles. Um, the electric bill and the water bill essentially be a recurring expense, and so you can create a profile that maintains most of these fields associated with that expense, so that you don't have to do double entry every time that you want to do this transaction. So let's walk through that one time too. So right now there's no records in the profile. For the electric bill, we're going to create a profile. The check number you almost have to enter every single time you do it, even a recurring one. So leave that blank. Remarks, you can put in there electric bill recurring. Choose your electric account. Call center, we're going to say 7,000. And we're also going to add that here as well. Now this field here is the key to the profile. This will be unique, and this will be the value that shows up in the profile. So you can't put duplications in with this same key. Quantity 1, let's call it quantity, and the average price will be, say, $55.99. This field will also most likely change every time you need to pay the bill, but the check number and the price field should be the only things you have to change each time you pull this profile. So click that, and then what you've done is added a profile record. So if we clear all this, do new, and there it is, our record right there. So you say enter another check number, and let's say the price this month is $45.78. Click add item, and you don't have to enter the rest of the information in there. It's already created for you. Click commit. Now last, again, let me show you this one more time where the expenses are. You can actually review it here, and you'll also see that this is grouped by the vendor code. So we added another transaction for vendor code electric company, and the sum of that is in the red portion of this pie chart. Last but not least, let's look at the financial records here. So we haven't posted these transactions to the general ledger yet. To do that, you have to post them explicitly. So if you look at the unposted GL, you will see that all those transactions are sitting there waiting to be posted, so that they actually go into the account summary tables. What I'd like to speak of here is these last four records here. When you enter in a miscellaneous expense, you're doing two transactions at once. You're essentially vouchering that transaction and paying that transaction at the same time. So effectively, these two counts are washing each other out, the first one and the second one. So technically what you're doing is you're debiting the electric expense, and you're crediting the cash account. Negatives are credits and positives are debits. So essentially you're taking the money out of the cash and you're putting it into the expense here. And you can post this. I'll go through the post process. Post, get count, and you post it. And once you do that, your account balance report will reflect those values you just put in there. And they're all here. Okay, that concludes the tutorial, the demonstration on expense maintenance, miscellaneous type expense maintenance. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to blueseer.com. The contact information is here in the help section as well. Help about, and there's the contact information here to post your questions. All right, thank you.